Rob Casey here. Welcome to the fapturbo Expert Guide. In the next 10 minutes, you're going to learn about the fapturbo Expert Guide, what it is, and how it's going to make you more money with fapturbo. So if it's so easy to make money with fapturbo, why are we creating this Expert Guide? It's a common question. Well, what we've noticed is that average and beginner traders have no trouble making an average profit, and that's great. I mean, everybody wants profit, right? But what we've noticed is that there's a segment of the population out there, these sort of expert traders that are just killing it with fapturbo. They're making maximum profits from this robot. And given that the robot does a large part of the work, we started wondering, what's the difference that makes the difference? And it really comes down to understanding how to use the robot and understanding the context for which it's used in. So what we plan to do in this expert guide is to help you learn how to optimize the fapturbo settings. And to do that, you're going to learn what the settings do, how they affect your trading. We're also going to show you not just the specific settings for the scalper mode, the long-term mode, but also the settings that are available in the standard version and the professional version. There are two different versions of the robot. You get them both when you buy the product, but the professional version gives you a lot more tweaking power. We're going to get into that deeply. We're also going to talk a lot about the MetaTrader 4 platform. fapturbo runs on the MetaTrader 4 platform, and if you're going to run it optimally, you have to understand what sort of restrictions, what are the pluses and minuses of the platform. So that way when you have a problem or something good happens, something bad happens, you want to know who to attribute that to. Is the problem a MetaTrader problem or is it a fapturbo problem? So we're going to talk about that. Make sure you understand it. And finally, of course, money and risk management is going to be a big part of our discussion. Money and risk management, especially in the context of the fapturbo robot, because there are certain mechanisms within fapturbo that allow you to control your money and risk management to some degree, actually to a great degree. And some of these features are often misunderstood by people that are novice traders. Even intermediate and advanced traders sometimes get it wrong, partly because the fapturbo guide is not really written for advanced traders. It's written for beginners, so there's a lot of stuff missing that I think should be there, and that's what this guide's all about. Okay, so before I move on to the actual content in the guide, I want to talk briefly about the format of the guide. Now, we decided to deliver this guide as an online format. Unlike an ebook, which a lot of people might deliver, we've decided an online format is far more appropriate for a number of reasons. First of all, we want to be able to deliver video. Video, I think, it's a visual tool that makes so much sense, especially when you're talking about Forex. Forex is about charts, it's about price movements and patterns. This is stuff that we need to be able to show people as we're discussing the situations. The other thing we want to do is we wanted to make a product that is accessible and yet dynamic. And to do that, we need to know that we could update the existing content. We're under no illusion that the first thing we put down on paper is necessarily the best way to explain something. Sometimes someone will come along and say, I don't quite understand how you've done that, can you explain that? And then we realize there's a better way to teach something or a better way to explain something, and we'll change it. We want to make sure that our guide is not static, but yet always evolving towards a better version of the guide. That's something we can do in an online format. You don't get that with a PDF or an ebook. And finally, I just want to point out that in addition to changing the existing content, there's always new content being added. And this is really important because the fapturbo product itself is not static. These guys, they deliver new versions of the product on a fairly regular basis. Just the other week, they released standard version 37, professional version 45. There were some features in both of those that have the potential to change the way we want to trade our robots, and especially version 45, the professional version, there are a lot more settings and tweaks that are available to us in that version, and we could end up coming up with whole new trading strategies based on some of those settings. We can't obviously offer that to you if we had already delivered a PDF to you in the past. That's why our guide is online, and that's why the format is dynamic. Okay. Okay, the fapturbo guide, expert guide, the content is broken into two sections, fapturbo content and more generic content. In the fapturbo content, we talk about all the issues that are most important for fapturbo, of course. One of those being the broker watch. The broker watch is a section where I review a lot of brokers. I don't just review them by reading other people's reviews. I actually open accounts and I trade with them. And I come back to you, tell you what I'm finding and what I'm not finding. I make recommendations. Furthermore, I spend the time and effort so that you guys don't have to, because it is time consuming chasing these different brokers around and testing them and finding out who's fapturbo friendly and who isn't. This is going to save you a whole whack of time, not to mention a whole whack of money, because if you end up at a broker that is screwing you around, you don't need that. We talk a lot about the crucial settings for fapturbo, such as the GMT offset. If your GMT offset is not set correctly, fapturbo doesn't know the correct time, and it doesn't know when it should or shouldn't be trading. In fact, this section was just recently updated to reflect the new GMT offset values for various brokers given the daylight savings time. The scalper strategy settings. Scalper mode is a very popular mode. It's the mode that is most responsible for all these impressive results people are seeing with fapturbo. There are a number of settings available in both the standard and the professional version that allow you to tweak the performance of the system. If you don't understand how to use them, you're not going to get the maximum benefit from them. In fact, some people go off tweaking settings here and there thinking that they understand what the setting does, and then they soon find themselves in trouble, and I'm going to try and prevent that for you. We're going to talk about things like how to manage your money properly using these settings, why the lot risk reductor setting, for instance, does not represent the percent that you are risking on a trade. We're going to talk about how to work out your percentage of risk on a given trade, and what time should you be using manual money management or auto money management. They both have their pros and cons, and if you're using them incorrectly at the wrong times and in the wrong situations, you're going to find that your actual risk being taken on a given trade is not necessarily what you think it might be. So we're going to talk a lot about that. Then we're going to also talk about the long-term strategy. This is the old Forex autopilot strategy. They've added a lot of new features to it. They've added a lot of new filters and a lot of new risk and money management parameters that we can tweak and set. We're going to talk about strategies for the long-term strategy trader. But in the end, we're going to bring all that together, and we're going to help you build a trading plan that fits the kind of profile that you're looking for your trading. Trading plans are important because they give you that overall sense of where am I going with my account. Am I risking too much? Am I not risking too much? When do I increase my position size? How do I achieve the end results that I want with the minimum amount of risk over a period of time? And that's what a trading plan is going to help you figure out what to do. In our general content section, contributed by Tom Sanders from MrAutomate.com, we're going to be talking about a number of things that apply across the board, not just to fapturbo. We're going to go into an introduction to Forex robots so you understand the underlying nature of how these guys really work, what their limitations are, pros and cons. We're going to talk about backtesting with MetaTrader 4 as well, and this is important. You're going to learn about how unscrupulous vendors can screw you with fake backtesting results. We're going to teach you how to properly backtest and properly understand the results you're getting. Games brokers play is important as well because there's a lot of unscrupulous brokers out there, and we want to help you sort through the good from the bad. Trading by the numbers, we're going to talk about trading from a numbers perspective. It really is a statistical game that we're playing, and this section is going to help you understand that. And lastly, money management. We want to give a bigger overview of money management in general because there are a lot of different strategies that can be used money management wise, and frankly it's one of the most important parts of being successful as a trader that we really feel you need to understand it if you want to be successful in the long haul. Well, I'm Rob Casey with the fapturbo Expert Guide. Thanks for watching, and see you on the inside.